This tutorial will take you through the online application for the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts Save Our Granite Stages grant program. The tutorial assumes that you've created a free account at submittable.com and that you've logged into the system. Before we start going through the application, just a couple of things for your awareness. It is very, very important that you carefully read the guidelines for this program and prepare all of the required materials before you start filling out the application. Have everything saved on your computer so you know where it is, so that when you start the application, you'll be able to finish it in one sitting. So the first part of the application is the applicant data area. And so we want you to tell us what kind of organization you are and what your organization's legal status is. This grant program is open to nonprofit, for-profit, school and university, and municipal applicants. So you want to tell us what your legal status is, and then you want to provide your contact information. Official IRS name is the name that is on your tax return. So you want to provide that, your email address, mailing address, etc. We also want either your website URL or your Creative Ground profile that provides examples of recent programming for your organization. We also require a DUNS number, and as an incorporated entity, you should already have one. If you have received a federal grant in the last year or so, you may also have a unique entity identifier number. You will be required to have a UEI if you receive a grant from us. And there's a link here that'll tell you more about that if you don't already have one. We want to know the authorized official's name and title of from the organization and their email address. And then we want you to choose an arts discipline. This is the primary area of your organization's work. And there's a whole lot of choices here. And so it might be music, it might be dance, it might be musical theater or theater in general. You want to choose one here. You also need to verify that your organization has had at least 1 year of arts programming. This is essential. And then you want to tell us more about your organization, when it was founded, when it was incorporated, if you're a nonprofit, when you received your IRS exemption, how many staff you have, both administrative and artistic and technical, how many volunteers you might have, and provide us a fiscal summary. So tell us the dates of your most recently completed fiscal year, what your total income was, and your total expense. Later on, you're going to upload some financial information in the Uploads area. The second section of the application is the contact person site coordinator, and you only have to fill this out if it's different from the authorized official's name that you provided in the first section. Here in section 3, you're going to tell us how much you're asking for and what the purpose is. So there are 5 items, there are 5 purposes for which these grant funds can be used. And so you want to choose all that apply to you. And again, all of this is detailed in the guidelines. Section 4 is where you're going to upload all of your documents. So there are narrative questions at the end of the guidelines, and so you need to create a written narrative and you will upload it. There is a budget form and you will upload it here. And just a little something about that budget form. We have 2 versions of the form. We have an Excel form that will do the math for you, and that is the form that we prefer you use. There's also a fillable PDF, but we do prefer all of the documentation that you upload in this section in PDF format. So for the budget form, if you watch the tutorial for the budget form, at the end of the tutorial, I'll show you how to save the Excel form as a PDF. We want to see your organization financial reports. So the guidelines go over this in great detail, but we want separate profit and loss statements for the grant period. And we're looking at specific dates here, March 3rd, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. And we're going to ask for another profit and loss for that same period in 2019, pre-pandemic. And again, you can generate these from whatever financial system you're using, QuickBooks, Excel, whatever you're using, you should be able to generate these P&Ls. And again, we prefer them in PDF format. We also want to know if you received other COVID-19 related relief funding in calendar year 2021. If you did, we want to see documentation of it. And so you will upload that documentation here. If you're a nonprofit, university-based, or municipal applicant, we'd like to see your board of directors or advisory committee list with terms of service. We also need documentation of venue size. So if you're a performing arts venue or a production entity, performing arts venue, you would upload probably your seating chart here. And if you are a production entity, you would upload probably multiple seating charts for the venues that you produce in. Multiple files can be zipped, and we actually prefer that they're zipped. If your production entity produces in a variety of venues, you want to zip up those files. And we prefer them all to be in PDF format. We also want to see documentation of the losses that you entered on the budget form. And so this could be correspondence regarding show cancellations, documentation of ticket sales comparing the period in 2021 to the period in 2019, proof of any capital expenditures that you made during that period, any increased personnel costs, health and safety costs, promotional or marketing costs during that time. Please remember to redact account numbers or personal information. Again, you're probably going to be uploading multiple files here, so make sure they're in PDF format and zip them up. If you had some COVID-19 related policies that contributed to the reduced revenue that your organization experienced during the grant period, you can upload that documentation here. So this could be your posted policies, any contracts with artists, things like that. Again, please redact account numbers and personal information, and again, upload in PDF format and zip up those PDF files. If your organization conducted any audience surveys during the grant period, you can upload the results of those surveys here. If you created any marketing materials during the grant period, you can upload them. We also want to see documentation of your organization's most recent season. And this is a required field. And this could be playbills, any brochures, screenshots from your website. Again, we'd like to see these things in PDF format, and you can zip them up. And then finally, we want to see your most recent tax return or annual audit, and you can upload it here. Finally, this last section is your electronic signature. This is required. Read what's written here, and then click the agree box, type in your name and your title. Now, once you click submit, one of two things is going to happen. Either the system will accept your application and you'll receive a message on the screen and probably an email shortly thereafter saying that your application has been accepted by the submittable system. If you receive a message on the screen that your application is not accepted That's probably because you didn't fill out a required field. So wherever you see these little red asterisks, those are required fields that must be filled out, or the system will reject your application. So that is the online application for Save Our Granite Stages. As always, we're here to help if you have questions. Please reach out. Thank you.